Hi everyone, Marilyn O'Malley here, and I just got back from a walk and I was thinking about growing up as a pioneer and how I'm pioneering now and what that means and how does and would that information be important for the other pioneers, you pioneers out there who might not even know that you're a pioneer, but you are. So I thought I'd share some of my story and what it felt like to be a pioneer and what it feels like to be a pioneer today. So, what do I call a pioneer? So, pioneer for me is somebody who is looking for something a better way or looking for information that would serve others. So, if you think back to caveman days or pioneer days when with the horse and carriage and always somebody would go riding off or would be leading, go ahead and see, where should we put up camp, is there a water source, is there a food source, is there danger, what do we need, and or what is available to us, can we harvest anything, can we plant anything, etc. Whatever it might be, have been the medicine woman or medicine doctor or shaman who was out searching for things that would help them serve their people, to keep them alive, to take care of them better, that would give them strength and health and vitality when they needed it in order for their species to survive. So, so some of the things about pioneering. So I'll share my first pioneering was that at a very young age I was interested in the mind. I was interested in psychic abilities. Although I could not tell you exactly what that was, but I was about power. I watched people. I saw how people interacted and how some people had more power over others, or how people used language, their bodies, etc. And so I, from very young age, was fascinated with that. So in third grade, I went and checked out a book, and I don't know how I knew to do this, but again, I think pioneers, you cannot not pioneer. It's just in you, and you have to. It's like I love to go and learn something and master it, and then the next pioneering thing comes, and I learn it and I master it. Or it's actually I might already know it, but I don't know how to communicate it. A lot of times I've known things, but it isn't until I've read how somebody languaged it in a book. Like a lot of times with intuition, with my psychic abilities, which I didn't know what that was. I just knew I had this ability, but when I would start to talk about it with other people, they had no idea what I was talking about. And it wasn't until I read something or heard something, and then at that time, it wasn't called intuition, it was called parapsychology. And there was just a couple classes in it, and so anyway, it's exploring and using that, and but going back to the third grade and the power of the mind. And so I checked out a book from Freud and a book on witchcraft. So, I like to look at things from lots of different areas. So when I'm pioneering, when I'm researching things, I like to see things or find different ways to say things in lots of different ways. For some reason, that's important. But I want to say, as a pioneer at that time too, again, it can feel lonely, because I want you to get, like, the majority of the population is not interested in what you're interested in, or doesn't see a need for it or a desire. Because you've got to think, you're ahead of the time. You're ahead of what other people are seeing. You have a knowing, and you're being drawn towards that for a reason, because as a sensitive and having and a star seed, and having this inner knowing that there are there's information that you're to provide, or to explore and to find and then share. And you might not even know that you're to share it, but when you go and find it, you're so excited. You come back and you're like, hey, and you find most people are like, yeah, so what? And you're like, oh my God, you think that you have discovered life. And, it's just like, how can you not be excited about this? And then you kind of keep going on, and you might bring your energy in, you might stop sharing it, but you are drawn forward and forward and forward. And then one day you wake up, and it might be years later, and all of a sudden what you've been studying or what you've been talking about is, now personal development, is now intuition, is now entrepreneurship, is now holistic health, is now lots of different things. So a lot of things. I was a pioneer in body work. I was a pioneer in holistic health. I was studying. I've always been fascinated by the best. What is the best thing out there? What is it that I need to know that will make this mind, this body, this soul, this experience here on earth, the best possible experience? So I'm always looking, what's the fastest, the shortest amount of time that you can do something that has the greatest benefit, health benefit, longevity benefit, mental benefit, spiritual benefit, emotional benefit. And but a lot of times when you're going after these things, like I said, as a pioneer, you might be ahead of the game and talking to people, and they're like, don't believe you. They're again not interested. So you can feel very alone in this, and you might find a little tribe who's learning along with you, and then all of a sudden you wake up, and now it's become a thing, or it might be that it's a bit of a, what do you call that? Fad. Like it's turned into a fad a little bit, and it depends on how much motion, and the motion that keeps going, whether it keeps growing, and whether people get it or not, or put it on the back burner, because there is wonderful stuff out there that is not in the mainstream because it's not huge money makers for certain fields. And there's definitely things that you can do for your health that are not popular in Western medicine because it's free. And then also a lot of times people don't want to take responsibility for themselves or do things, so they don't want to hear what you have to say that they have to do. They would rather be taken care of. So we have to understand, as pioneers, there's going to be a lot of times that people don't understand us. They don't get what we're saying because they're not there yet. And we have to understand as pioneers that that's all right. We don't want to blend in. We're not one of the sheep and the followers. We're one of the leaders. And so I would recommend, as a pioneer, you find other pioneers, even if they're not in the same field, but you can talk about being a pioneer and what that means. And like I said, a lot of times it's like I'm working on holistic health or diet and nutrition, and that's not even a thing yet. Doing personal trainer wasn't a term when I was helping to teach exercise and exercise physiology. So it's really interesting now that my new pioneering, because I think about this, because a lot of times when we're thinking new and we're reaching out there and we're beyond where other people, most of the majority of the population, I'm going to say, because there are people that are always in front of me that are helping me be the pioneer that I am, and I'm helping other pioneers behind me. So we're not alone. So I think the pioneers ought to come together. But my new pioneering thing is with the Starseeds and the ETs. So even though, so there's others out there, but I just want to say I'm like, because every time you start something, it's like, oh no, because it can feel like, it's going to be scary. Are people going to reject me? Are people, they're going to think I'm crazy. Although a lot of people used to think I was crazy with being psychic and intuitive, right? Or the health things. You don't know what you're talking about. And then an article would come out in the New York Times and they'd be, hey, here's that thing you were talking about. I don't get any credit for knowing it. But now that it's in the paper, it's okay. So it's learning to, number one, that there is timing and we cannot not be pioneers. That's the whole thing that I get. I'm like always looking, and I always trust that Source is going to give me information when I need it, and when I've completed something, and now here's the next thing, and everything is intertwined. Everything is building on each of those, and I see how everything that I've learned is created, a great support, a great foundation for everything else that's coming up. And as a starseed, one of the things I think that I had to learn before I learned I was a starseed was how to be in this body, how to deal with the emotional intelligence of everything around me. All the things that I was researching, right? All the things since I was a little kid that I've been, how to be healthy in the body, how to manage the mind, how to manage my energy, learning energy medicine, learning personal development, learning all different psychology, or a lot of different things about how the minds work, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and how the brain works with the heart, how the heart works with the brain, and how everything is connected, and how we can flourish out in the world, how we can thrive as starseeds in these human bodies and bring our work to the world, because that's what we're here on a mission, and my mission is to be the pioneer and find the best way. And so then I, as this pioneer, can now help those people who are pioneers in their field but don't know the information that I know, that will help them be able to function at a function at their potential, and enjoy this ride in this human body, and with this mind and emotions and everything that's going on around us, so that we can be our best, right? So that we can all be our best and help to serve each other, because that's what a pioneer is here. Is to serve, to get new information and to bring it back and to share it. And other people might benefit greatly from the information that we gather, and we don't, other than the experience of gathering it. So there's different ways too, different things that happen with that. So I just wanted to say I have compassion and empathy for you pioneers who might be feeling isolated, alone, misunderstood, and even abandoned in some ways. And so I just want to say I'm here for you. So feel free to reach out, and also to encourage you, move forward, just with an open heart, doing your work. So I think the other thing as a pioneer for me is I've always applied what I learned, what I've gone out and learned. I apply it to me first. So I do my work first before I go back and share it with anybody. So I kind of see whether it works or not, whether it feels like it's a good fit, whether it's reliable. Again, checking out the information, the resources, and doing all of that, so that I become a reliable and trustworthy pioneer. So people can trust me, they can feel safe around me, understanding what I share is what I've experienced or researched or am living, or all of those, I should say, all of those together. So pioneers pioneer on. And I'm really excited to see what it is that you learn and come up with and share and understand. Yeah, I think too, as I'm going to say, add this part too, as a starseed, I think a lot of us have this knowing, and I think a lot of us as starseeds did not necessarily use language. We're very psychic, multidimensional. A lot of us have lived on or living parallel lives and doing different things. Like, we don't realize how much we do in our lives that is different from how other people are living their lives, and how we can be in this body and be somewhere else. Reading the energy is an example of a parallel life, or feeling our child or our partner, or a parent or something. Saying a lot. So so what I want to say is that sometimes we have this inner knowing, and it's finding out. It's allowing yourself to not have to know all the ways to express it. That you will find your way. And I'm saying that because it was really hard for me a lot of times too. It's just like, I know something, I don't know how to put words to it, but I can send it to you psychically, and I can pick up on it psychically, how you would respond back. But so I guess I'm saying, have compassion for yourself. Yeah, because a lot of times I thought I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't good enough, I didn't know enough. And, I would realize that a lot of the information I was reading in books, I already knew, but I couldn't put words to. Or I couldn't tell you it was science, because to me it was just life. Yeah, and the work I was doing as a body worker, I never called myself a healer. I never knew I was healing. That's who I was. That's what I did. Was natural. So, and a lot of the stuff that I knew about the mind or emotional things, it's just, again, I kind of had an inner knowing about it, and a feeling. I have inner feelings about how we're all connected. It's very natural to me. But when I was younger, I wouldn't be able to necessarily explain that to you, that I just felt this, and that I felt this unconditional loving energy, and just bliss, feeling connected to everything. But felt really disconnected with the humans, because they didn't understand me, and I didn't understand me as a human. So, all right, lovies, take care, and until we meet again, Marilyn O'Malley at marilyno'malley.com, and love, live, and matter.